family wedding and he was telling us, yeah, they're making a movie about my life. Leonardo DiCaprio is playing me, he's a professional liar. So we all just laughed at him. Then Catch Me If You Can came out. The guy is just too smooth. I watched a video of him speak at Google and noticed he never says It was a speech, but is this the way he speaks casually? Zac Efron went to a neighboring high school. He dated a girl from my school for a while. I remember him coming to some school dances. My wife was also in his grade at his school. He was a bit nerdy, but a nice guy. Pretty much just a normal dude from nowhere that ended up mega famous. I went to high school with him and wouldn't say he was nerdy, but just a normal dude. I went to Northwestern W. David Schwimmer. He lived with my best friend in a house after graduating. He's an outstanding actor with a huge range, only actor ever to make me tear up in the middle of a play. Too bad he's been so typecast now. Nice guy. Did he ever try to eat any of you guys? Why does Ross, the largest friend, not simply eat the other 5? In the words of my year 12 classics teacher, Kylie Minogue was really smart and lovely. Danny Minogue was just lovely. I don't know who either of those people are, but I really like that quote. Kylie Minogue is a huge global pop star everywhere except America. She tried to break into the American market a few times. Hits like Locomotion and Can't Get You Out of My Head were 2 notable US hits. Her sister Danny Minogue is known more for her acting than her singing, but she's been successful in her own right. My grandma went to the same high school as James Dean. Said he was chill and charismatic. Was kinda cocky as a result though, because he knew he was hot stuff. My dad used to be a punk drummer in California. Knew Green Day when they were first starting out. He said the bandmates were cool, but the lead singer was a party itch that would often cancel or storm off if people he didn't like were at concerts parties. Didn't have thick skin when it came to some criticism either. Not a super famous connection, but Avril Lavigne, Canadian musician, was the bad girl for my baseball team. She was a cute kid and respectful. It was years later when she had a hit song that I realized it was actually her. Since when is Avril not that famous? Since she died and they cloned her duh. James Corden. God, was he a show-off. When a bunch of 10-11-year-old kids are trying to get a school play together, it helps if you don't start making up your own lines and throwing everyone into a state of utter confusion. Excellent. I'm always pleased when my random loathing of somebody is ratified by anecdote. Cool. A topic I can contribute to. Went to high school with John Legend. He was a year older than me. He was clearly very talented. Lead role in most school plays. Musical acts at talent shows etc. But he was basically just a really nice, humble guy. I wasn't friends with him, but I was an athlete who hung out with the theater crowd. I helped on set construction and sound for shows. He was a basketball fan and came to most of our school's games. His cousin was also on the team and a year younger than me. I went to high school with Hayden Christensen before he was in Star Wars. He was artsy and seemed shy. Spent his time in the drama department. And was a nice guy from every memory I have. My dad went to school with Vanilla Ice. He said he was nice. My ex-mother-in-law was close friends with Johnny Knoxville. Except everyone around here calls him PJ. He absolutely adores her father. So anytime he came into town, he's visit my ex-wife's grandfather, who happened to live next door to my ex-mother-in-law. She said he was just a sweet, goofy kid growing up who was always doing stunts even back then. He used to wear a football helmet around for his stunt work or something like that. In a hoe. He came in town for his parents' 50th and we were all invited. Then we hung around outside and walked around, and I gotta say, I don't know any celebrities, but I've heard they can be big digs to fans. Looking at you, Daniel Craig. You bondly sob. You. This just cannot be said about PJ. He's just as friendly after 3 hours of fans stopping him as he was the first fan of the night. He smiles from ear to ear. Gives each fan a great big hug. Takes pictures with them. gives them that Johnny Knoxville laugh, and just genuinely appreciates their support. He's just an all-around nice guy from the sticks. Chloe Moritz is from my hometown but is a good bit younger than I am. She went to my ballet school briefly and her family was friends with one of my best friend's family growing up. So I was around her a good bit. She would have been maybe 6-8 at the time and she was just a cute, polite, kind of shy kid. There was some drama that caused her family to move to Atlanta and then New York. And I remember her older brother was the ham of the family that wanted to get into acting first. I was surprised when I heard that she was the one who'd gotten famous out of them. The gaudy McMansion her dad had built at the front lot of the local rich people subdivision still sits vacant, and one time my friends and I got drunk and went skinny dipping in the Moritz pool in high school. I don't mean to sound snarky. It really is a weird house. Not directly me, but my middle school maths teacher used to teach Heath Ledger through his high school and always told us about how he misses him. Very bright personality and much of a joker, pun not intended, he was. Apparently he was always trying to impress the girls. It's not about the girls. It's about sending a message. Not a celebrity. But I went to middle school with a guy named Kyle. Kyle, if you're reading this I ducking hate you, you better give me my Game Boy back, you little squirt. I know that you have a crush on Sarah and I swear if I don't have that Game Boy in my hands by Tuesday night I'm gonna tell her. I went to high school with Sean White. He wasn't ever around because he already had a bunch of contracts and was already traveling the Mayo. He also bought his mom a house at 15 Ike. Lena Dunham was very unfunny in middle high school but otherwise just sort of awkward. I don't get the impression she changed so much as people started listening to her. Jemima Cook was dumb as rocks. Kid Jon Snow Harrington went to the same 6th form college as me. Year below me. Super quiet and shy. Literally the last person you'd think would end up being famous. He seems like he'd be introverted and genuinely down to earth and sweet. I went to high school with Joe Keery. I wasn't personally friends with him but had a few classes here and there and he was relatively well known in our class. Then again, in a class of 150 people it's more unusual not to know somebody. He was always very nice and friendly. The complete opposite of Steve at the start of S1 of Stranger Things. I'm really glad to see him succeed as much as he has and wish him all the best in his career, which we will watch with great interest. I went to high school with Emily Ratajkowski. She is a year older than me and was in a grade above me. We weren't friends ourselves, but she was friends with a lot of people I was friends in. In no way did I know her well, but I remember she was always smiling and very nice. The most memorable thing though, is I had her dad as my art teacher for a semester when I was a sophomore. He had been with the school for so many years and I think he retired the year after I had him. My high school was relaxed as duck but he was the ultimate DGAF teacher. He would take attendance and then leave for the rest of the class. Came back 5 minutes prior and would take attendance again. He was a super nice guy. Very talented. Back to Emily though. The only thing I truly remember from her in high school is she was cute but not like damn. She had gnarly eyebrows. Not in a bad way at all. They were just intimidating but also really cute in a way. Great girl, from what I could tell, and I'm happy she's big and famous now. I went to the same high school as Brad Pitt. The media teacher told us that he was a major douchebag. Tom Hanks was in this Midwestern theater troupe, way before he got famous, that visited my mom's high school. I believe it was a specific workshop for the school's theater department, where the students got to work with the visiting actors. She and her friend both thought he was the best one in the troupe and also thought he was insanely nice. Edit, this was in Doylestown, Ohio if anyone's curious. I always breathe a sigh of relief when someone confirms how nice Tom Hanks is. He's the one celebrity I'd be so disappointed by if a Me Too type thing came out about him. Or if there were stories of him being a major asshole. Not really a celebrity. But my brother went to high school with Terrell Suggs at Chandler High. He was dirt poor. and would go around asking people for french fries during lunchtime. And my bro would buy him food. etc. As they were good friends. I remember he came from a poor family and would always tell us his dream was going to the NFL. He just knew he was going to make it. And everyone else did too. Christina Aguilera went to our neighboring rival high school in Pittsburgh. To this day a friend of mine swears she asked him to the Sadie Hawkins dance and he turned her down because he thought she was a dork. He can't prove this and we roast him on a regular basis because of this fact. Sounds unlikely. She was homeschooled in high school and was recording albums and filming the Mickey Mouse Club in her early teens. I was in Drake's class for grades 1-4. We weren't super tight, but we got along okay. His mother was always taking him out of school to go to auditions. And TBQH. It never really seemed he was feeling the whole stage kid thing back then. Not that he seemed to hate it. Just that to him it seemed more like an errand his mother often took him on. Though he later seemed to grow into it. So good on him. I haven't seen him since then. So I don't know what he's like IRL these days. And I hope he's happy with whatever he's up to. But I will say that I am totally incapable of buying his stage persona. I remember little Aubrey Graham as, if anything, kind of a goody two shoes. Quick to remind other kids of rules nobody else saw them breaking. Inclined to take the teacher's side if he overheard other kids complaining about her. That kind of thing. Assuming he wasn't faking an accent the entire time he went to elementary school. I gather that is not, in his case, a safe assumption. I can also confirm that Buddy's natural accent and dialect is indistinguishable from any other middle-class white kid from Toronto. Went to middle school with Raven Simone, post Cosby. Pre That's So Raven. She was just a normal kid. But if you asked for an autograph, made a big deal about her, you got detention. Not sure if it really counts. But I played Modern Warfare 2 with Alex Oxlade-Chamberlain when I was younger. I didn't really know him. He was good friends with a guy I played with regularly. They went to the same school. Only played with him a handful of times. Was never online much. Seemed like a pretty normal teenager. Was pretty sound TBH. Obviously I had no clue who he was. My friend said he played for the Southampton youth team. I kind of fanboyed when I saw him play in a Southampton game for the first time though. My mom went to school with Hillary Clinton's daughter and she said that Chelsea was kinda a snobby itch. Mom said she couldn't stand her. Lol. The children of people who went to school with Chelsea Clinton are old enough to be posting on Reddit. Let that sink in. Did we get old or what? My friend went to school with Maisie Williams who used to bully him for being fat. Interesting since she claims to be bullied. People can bully and be bullied. But according to my friend she was always a snob who showed off about having been to acting school, being in certain productions etc. He's still friends with her on her private Facebook though. Just for bragging rights. I was on the wrestling team with Rachel Brosnahan. She was always super chill and nice. Always treated me with respect. Much better actor than wrestler. My best friend's mom grew up in the same neighborhood as Alyssa Milano and said she was a total itch. My close friend's high school was the rival of the high school that Ariana Grande went to in Florida. Her high school was considered the rich kids' school. Apparently she was pretty popular. Was always involved with, and good at, music and theater, but was completely stuck up and kind of mean. Not sure if this is true, but that's what the rumors were. She left at some point to go beyond Victorious. Went to school with a guy who is in the WWE. Bo Dallas. His real name is Taylor Rotunda. He was pretty outgoing and popular but very polite and respectful. I can't speak for others, but he was always very nice to me. He did once headbutt a kid without saying a word because he was making fun of a kid with special needs. So the story goes. Anyway. I watched it happen so can confirm the headbutting. But the story behind it is what was told to me. My husband knew Kevin McHale from Glee when he was a kid. Said he was the quiet, artsy type but super talented. One of my former colleagues who retired recently went to college with Hillary Clinton. She said that she was very likable, smart and down to earth. Ninja went to my high school, and although I didn't know him personally, it was funny the day we asked my math teacher senior year if she remembers Tyler Blevins, and she said yes of course. And asked why does the entire class know who he is and why do they call him Ninja though? Edit, the streamer. Not Ninja from Diant Ward. She's not super famous yet, but she's on the brink. Olivia Cook. She recently played the lead girl in Ready Player One, and she was the love interest in Bates Motel. Sat next to me for 5 years in school because our surnames are very similar. She was my high school crush, but I had no confidence. Chubby. Lame blah blah, you know the drill. She was super nice and well liked by everyone. Once we played a school talent show gig together. The highlight of my performance career. Absolutely thrilled that she's doing so well for herself. Our town is notorious for being kinda shitty, so I'm glad someone from there made something of themselves. Went to school with a Yauta Bazola. She was kind of shy and not very confident. She hung out with the popular girls but just sort of followed them around. I didn't really know her because I'm 2 school years older, but went to lots of parties etc where she was there with her mates. Her younger brother went to our school too, but he is so much younger than me that I don't really remember him. Not a personal one, but my mother's friend circle was involved with Eminem obviously far before he was famous. Uncle also was friends with him. And was there for his first tape he tried to get local shops and people to listen to and pick up during his young teenage years. From what I was told, it was very bad LMAO. But being a master doesn't happen overnight. Clarification edit, spoke to my mother. We've lived in the Warren area almost our entire lives, so it was when he was younger living around here. Mid-80s she thinks. My uncle went up to the park they all used to hang out at. And when he came home later that day he had a tape given to him by his friend Marshall, as she put it, LMFAO. He was really excited about it because obviously that was his good friend, but she said it was pretty terrible from the song she heard from it. My uncle had that tape for a while. But a friend wanted to borrow it to let other friends hear it. Still before he was famous, so there was no foul play. Either it's sitting somewhere and nobody knows about it, in the trash, or somebody realized what it was and stashed it away by now. A really cool story overall, though learned more than I ever heard about it. Went to middle and high school with Halsey. She was in the same grade as me. Didn't really talk to her much, but she was always very outgoing and artistic, so it's not a surprise that she became what she is now. I went to high school with Carl Newacek and Blake Anderson of Workaholics fame. They were really funny. And had a Czechoslovakian rap group where they dressed up in fake beards and mustaches and rapped. It was all pretty funny. And fun to see at our talent shows and such. I have 2. Nick Frost, Hot Fuzz. Paul. Shaun of the Dead, was a real fun guy. Into everything geeky and sci-fi. I liked him a lot. He doesn't need to act in his films. He's just playing himself. I was also friends with Lady Penny Lancaster, married to Sir Rod Stewart. Ultimo model. Insisted on being called Penelope, never Penny. And was as far from sexy as it was possible to be. She was certainly a late bloomer. A genuinely lovely person. My uncle went to the same high school as Britney and Jamie Lynn Spears. He rode the bus with Jamie Lynn because they both lived in Kentwood, La. But went to school in Mississippi. Apparently on the bus Jamie would hand out CDs of Britney's music when she was first getting started with music. Also one day he saw her crying on the bus because people were calling Britney a slut. Lol, I'm pretty sure he hung out at her house one time too. I think their parents were friends. My cousins and I used to beg him tell us stories about Britney, lol. Not necessarily answering the question. But one of my teachers was the mother of the late Raul Julia Gomez from Addams Family. General Bison and the Street Fighter movie. She was cool with all his flicks except for the Gumball Rally. Didn't like the scene where he motorboats the leading lady. Lol. I went to high school with Callista Flockhart. She was very nice. Great student. Great singer. Nice. Chill girl. All the crap in the media about her weight and all of that? Nonsense. She was always slender build. Athletic. She looks the same today as she did at Shawnee High School in 1983. Good for you. Callista. Didn't go to school with him, but the Youtuber Vitaly went to my school and had my multimedia class. Our teacher showed us the videos he made there. Also that baby showed us her new nipple piercings in 6th grade. Not me, but one of my aunts went to school with Bob Dylan in Minnesota. They tell the story all the time about how he sang a song in a school talent show and literally everyone thought he was awful. My aunt said all the parents were going poor MRS. Zimmerman and the audience because it was so embarrassing. My old high school has an academy of a football team attached to it. So I went to school with 10 or so players who now play for English Premier League Championship League teams. Most of them were not very nice. I went to middle school with Burt Reynolds and he was always real friendly to everybody. I remember he would always bring a tray of cookies in every Friday to share with the class. My sister-in-law, before she married my brother, went to college at Glenville State with Channing Tatum in the early 2000s. They met at a bar near campus and they hit it off and went out a few times. She said he was really nice but pretty backward and shy.